Why the death drive in modernity? I don't know if you've seen it, but I definitely notice it all around in what I see in culture and even in myself. I mean, it probably has something to do with the fact that I live in the center of the civilization of the Western world, New York City. I do it to myself. But I think I've resolved in my mind to some degree what the mechanism is. And I think it has a lot to do with imagination. So picture this. I think it could be said in some aspect that, oddly enough, the truth to reality is imagination. Meaning that these states that we experience in transcendent states, in sleep, in creativity, they're all in touch with some area, some zone, some state of like freedom, right? Where we're taken away from the bounds and constrictions of physical reality, of manifest reality, and are now in this state of free play, right? The dream state, let's say. Or psychedelics, you're like just like, what's the right word? Like beyond rational, super rational mathematics, structure. Basically what I'm getting at is that imagination, these states of freedom and of pure freedom of the mind, in some sense, is the truth, if what we mean by the truth is like the highest aspect of nature, right? Or if we're going to correlate it with God being, the universe being but the creative project of God's mind, and the truth being itself God's mind, where everything has its being, everything is possible, all things, right? Pure imagination. So I think what happens to us in modernity is essentially that we how do I detail this? Oh God, it gets so complicated. Basically, all of life is this movement of greater mind, of God, to come to know itself. Okay, I'm making a claim about that. I'm not going to justify here because it's going to take away from what I want to actually talk about, but that's what I think the universe is. I think the universe is the ultimate creative project of greater mind, of which we are a part of, and are the manifestations of God within its own creation, by the way. Universe is the way that God comes to know itself, right? And so all our actions, all the things that we make, we do to serve this purpose, to come to know greater mind. And what we make are things that I call abstractions, right? We take time, which is always flowing, there's no permanence, and we're crystallizing them into temporary permanence. Well, what happens is we've reached such a state of excellence and abundance of creating abstract forms, right? Think of this video, this is an abstraction. Think of social media, the incredible abundance of accumulated human knowledge, they're all abstractions. Essentially what I'm saying is we kind of need to get lazy, right? Because we create now we just go on the internet, we can go on our phones, and all we do all day long is we can consume abstractions. It's the same thing. It's in the same way that we can, now that we have an overabundance of food, we can do nothing. We can just consume food all day long. And what is the consequence of that? Well, it throws off this balance of activity versus consumption, right? Production versus consumption. And that throws off this very fine balance and leads to, all the health problems we have in modernity: atherosclerosis, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, things of this nature, right? Metabolic disease. So I think we essentially are experiencing the same thing in mind. Because what is fundamental here is that imagination, to imagine, is a fundamentally active exercise. It's exertive, it's productive, right? It's not consumptive. That's why you get, your most imaginative thoughts, and you can't sleep late at night because now your brain is bored. It needs to be bored so that it can create. It's using its own energy, just like your body uses its own energy sources when you're in exercise. So where the death drive comes into play is because what this disease of the mind that this overproduction has caused is neuroses. And the death drive is basically the unconscious's, subconscious's way, like desire to sort of destroy all of this grand accumulation and production of mankind, to destroy civilization so that we can return to this state of openness, right, and play. It's sort of Dostoevsky's, realization that humankind will never create a utopia, because even if we did, we would destroy it just to remind ourselves that we're free. That kind of thing. It's very interesting stuff. I don't know if that made sense, but let me know in the comments what you think. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.